Welcome to the Gossip Mill, the podcast where whispers turn into stories and stories turn into debates. From small-town scandals that everyone swears they don't care about, to am I the asshole and am I in the wrong moments that split people right down the middle, to friend group gossip that was never meant to leave the chat. Here, we spill the tea, but we also ask the hard questions. Who crossed the line? Who's telling the truth? And who's pretending they didn't start it? Grab your headphones, keep an open mind, and remember, in the Gossip Mill, the rumors are always churning and nothing stays quiet for long. Please make sure to follow on Spotify and YouTube. Today, we have an office gossip story, which is one of my favorite types of gossip. Please keep anon. Okay, so I don't even know where to start with this, because every time I tell it, I realize there's another part that sounds fake, but it wasn't. This actually happened. And yeah, names are changed, obviously. So, this was at a consulting firm. Mid-size. One of those places that acts important, but no one outside the industry could tell you what they actually do. You know the type. Glass building, neutral furniture, everyone wears the same 3 colors. Anyway, I worked there for about 2 years, and I swear nothing interesting ever happened until this one week. It started with an email. And I know that sounds boring, but stay with me because this email, it wrecked the entire office. So it's a Monday morning, like early Monday, before 9. People are barely awake. Half the floor is still getting coffee, and suddenly everyone's phones buzz at the same time. Which already feels weird, right? Because normally emails come in staggered. Someone just goes, "Did you get that?" And someone else goes, "Get what?" And then another phone buzzes. And then you hear it, that stupid Outlook notification sound just echoing across the office. The email has no subject line. That alone makes people open it. The body of the email just says, "Can you explain?" No greeting, no sign-off, nothing. And there's an attachment. At first, people think it's a mistake, like maybe someone meant to send it to their manager or something. But then you open the attachment and it's a spreadsheet. And look, we all worked with spreadsheets. That part wasn't weird. What was weird was how detailed it was. Like, this wasn't something you'd throw together last minute. It had project names going back years, budgets, vendor costs, internal transfers, color-coded tabs, notes in the margins. And there's this one column that doesn't line up with anything else. Numbers are just off. Not like obviously fake. More like, why is this vendor charging exactly the same amount across 5 different projects? Or why does this project go over budget before it even starts? People start quietly asking each other, "Do you understand this?" And someone goes, "Wait, scroll down." And someone else goes, "No way." Then you hit the bottom. There's a line item called Executive Discretion Fund. Almost $500,000. No explanation. No breakdown. Nothing. And that's when the office gets quiet, like too quiet, because everybody knows you don't question executive money. Now here's the thing. The email came from a junior analyst. Let's call him Evan. Nice guy, quiet, smart, not a troublemaker. The kind of person who triple checks formulas and apologizes when you bump into him. And everyone's first thought is, "Oh my God, he didn't mean to send this to everyone." Because that's the only explanation that feels safe. Except the email doesn't feel accidental. It feels deliberate. About 20 minutes later, the email disappears. Just gone. No recall notice, no follow-up. It's just vanished from inboxes. But screenshots are already everywhere. You've got people airdropping them, Slack messages popping up like, "Do you still have it?" Yeah, don't delete. Then HR sends out this very calm email saying something like, "Please disregard an email sent in error this morning." Sent in error. That phrase is doing a lot of work. Now, Evan doesn't show up after that. His badge stops working before lunch. By the afternoon, his desk is empty. Monitor gone. Chair pushed in, like he was never there. And no one says anything out loud, but everyone notices. The next day, management starts changing the story. They say the spreadsheet was incomplete. They say the data was misinterpreted. They say Evan was confused. Which, again, nice try, but that spreadsheet, that thing was cleaner than half the reports leadership approved. Then the rumors start. Someone says Evan was let go for performance issues. Someone else says he violated company policy. Someone else says legal got involved. No one actually knows. But here's the part that made it worse. A few days later, during an all-hands meeting, one of the executives, not even the main one, casually jokes about how numbers can be misleading if you don't understand the full picture. And the room just freezes. Now, this should have been the end of it. Usually, stuff like this just fades. People get scared, they stop talking, the company moves on. But it didn't. Because there was someone else. Let's call her Maya. Maya had been there forever, 7 years, I think. Senior project manager, super competent, never missed a deadline, never got emotional, never involved in drama. The kind of person who survives everything. She'd been quiet all week, which for her meant something. Then on Friday, literally 5 minutes before end of day, another email goes out. This time, there is a subject line. Final version. Everyone freezes again. Same recipients, whole company. The attachment isn't a spreadsheet. It's a document. And this document? It's basically a timeline. It shows when certain budget approvals happened. Who signed off? Which emails referenced which numbers? Screenshots of internal emails, calendar invites, approval chains. And it becomes very clear, very fast, leadership knew. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't one person making mistakes. This was how things were done. At the very bottom, Maya writes one sentence. This is not a mistake. This is a system. And that's it. No explanation. No goodbye. 3 minutes later, her Slack status goes offline. She never comes back. The next week, the company announces organizational restructuring. One executive takes an extended leave. Budgets quietly change. And no one ever officially talks about it again. But here's the thing. Offices have long memories. People leave, people talk, people screenshot. And now, whenever someone new joins and asks why everyone double-checks who's on an email before hitting send, someone always says, because once someone didn't, and it changed everything. How crazy is that story? Thank you for sharing it on the pod.